Today we're going to be taking a look at darkening up your fretboard right here on Addicted to Gear. Hey, welcome back everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today. One of the most common questions I get asked on a regular basis is how can I darken my fretboard because I feel that it's a little bit too light. Now, with the advent of rosewood necks becoming a little bit less common, a little harder to get, and companies opting for woods that are rosewood-ish, but not necessarily the same nice dark tone, people are looking for ways of darkening up lighter fretboards. Now, there are a few ways you can do this, some of them permanent, some of them semi-permanent. I would recommend staying away from the permanent solutions because if you mess them up, then you're kind of most likely stuck with it unless you want to take off all your frets and basically sand it all off and restart, which is not only expensive, but it's a big problem. So my advice to you guys is to take the non-permanent route and use products that won't necessarily tint your neck forever, unless that's really what you want. And one of the products that I've come across that does this is the Monty's Guitars Montypresso Relic Wax. Now, this product looks a lot like shoe polish, but it has been designed by the people over at Monty's Guitars to be a product specifically to be used on guitars. So yes, there are people that have used things like shoe polish to darken up their fretboards in the past. All you have to do is look online, and there's a lot of people talking about this. The disadvantage with using products like shoe polish is, number one, they're not designed for guitars. They most likely have products in them that are probably toxic, and you don't want to end up with brown fingers. So Monty's Guitars has put together this product that comes in a tin that looks like shoe polish, has the same consistency as shoe polish as well, but is designed for guitars. So today I'm going to take this product and we're going to take a neck that I feel needs a little bit of TLC, and we're going to apply this product to it, and I'm going to show you the process and also talk about the end results. So let's go down to my messy workbench right now and start the process. I don't really like fretboards that are light, and in most of my guitars, the fretboard on the guitar are relatively dark. This one, however, was a little dry looking, so I decided to apply some of this to see just how well it would work. I just applied a little portion up to the 10th fret on this neck, so I don't know if you can really tell the difference yet. I just put it on. But the instructions say to put it on and leave it there for about anywhere from 5 minutes to 48 hours. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have the patience to leave it on there for 48 hours, but I'm going to put it on there, let it stay on there for a while, then we'll wipe it off and we'll see the results. Now, just for those of you that are curious, you can see how dark the actual paste is. Very similar to shoe polish in texture. And although it's called Montypresso, I gave it the sniff test. I don't really smell coffee in there. So I don't know what it's really made of, but very similar consistency to shoe polish. And I put it on pretty liberally, you know, over the frets and everything. The only thing I did was I actually taped up the nut here so I don't get all the gunk in the nut slots. Then I'm going to have to clean it off later. But it goes on pretty good, and we'll let it settle in, and then we'll see what the end results are. The product is a good alternative for people that don't want to necessarily mess with something permanent. Since it's like a pasty, shoe polishy kind of thing, I'm assuming that over time, you know, it wears off. So it's probably not a permanent thing. The other thing that I wanted to try was their instrument food, which is a different type of product. It's actually more of a wax The consistency is almost like lip balm, and it doesn't really have a smell to it beyond maybe some wax. But now this would normally be applied to hydrate the neck. So if your neck is dry, you want to apply this. Now it doesn't really mention anywhere if you should apply this after doing a treatment with that. But I'm assuming that you don't have to do that because there's probably oils in the Montypresso that will probably act as a a treatment in terms of hydrating your neck. So if you're already doing this, you probably don't need to use this. So you can see that this part of the neck doesn't have any treatment so far. This is the part of the neck that I've actually done some treatment with the product. You can see it's still kind of relatively wet there. So we're just gonna let that dry. Then we'll come back and buff it off and see what the difference is. So I basically left off at the 10th fret. So everything below the 10th fret doesn't have anything. Here is the neck. It's been only about, I'm gonna say 2 hours or so. I don't have the patience to wait 48 hours to buff it out, so I'm gonna show you what it looks like. I didn't rub out the finish yet. I just applied it, left it on. You can see up to the about the 10th fret here is where I applied the actual treatment, and then the rest of the frets here have nothing. I'm just going to take a regular Scott towel and I'm just going to clean them up. Sorry for the shaky cam. Let's see how much of it actually comes off. Quite a bit actually, you can see from the rag. Okay, so let's have a look now that it's off and see if we can actually see a difference there. So I can definitely see a difference in the paler grain. You know, here you can see the grain that was a little bit paler, and after just one treatment of the Montypresso, it does look darker to me. It's not a drastic darkening of the wood, but it does look nice. Now I don't know if, if we would apply regular mineral oil or perhaps some wax, if it would, it would automatically darken it up a little bit. I just don't know how much more dark it would become. There's a lot of different ways you can darken your fretboard, and an oil treatment will darken it up automatically. But this looks quite nice, I have to say. It looks very nice even after one treatment. So what I'll do is I'll probably continue and apply to the rest of the fretboard and leave it on till tomorrow, and perhaps give it one more go, and then we'll see what kind of final results we have. But so far I'm liking it. I really am. If you enjoy having a richer color to your fretboard, this is something you can try. It's not extremely expensive, and one of the advantages that I can see right off the bat is it doesn't color any of the actual dots here. You can see that the dots still remained natural. So let's go ahead, continue the treatment on the rest of the fretboard here, and then we'll come back tomorrow, maybe give it a second treatment, and we'll see the final result of all of this. Now, if you haven't already ever treated your fretboard, you got to do it every once in a while, because fretboards do tend to dry out over time. But one of the misconceptions is that you got to do it like very regularly, which is not actually true, and it can actually damage your fretboard if you overdo, if you overhydrate your fretboard. You could actually cause the frets to loosen up. So you don't want to do it too often. And I applied it all through the fretboard, all the way to the last fret there, but I'm going to go ahead and just apply it one more time to the frets that I already did this today. just to give it more time to actually absorb into the wood. And yeah, we'll see the end result tomorrow, guys. Alright guys, so we've time warped to the next day. We've applied the Montypresso Relic Wax a day earlier, and as you can see, it's still on there. So today we're gonna just polish it up with just a regular Scott towel, and we're gonna buff it and see whether or not after a good 24 hours if we get the final result that we're looking for. Now, one of the things that I like to mention is that when you're doing this, it could be better to use a cotton cloth instead of, you know, one of these paper towels, just because I feel that the cotton is less abrasive, you know. So it might be a little bit more gentle when you're actually putting this on and taking it off on the neck. But if you don't have any cotton cloth, you can surely use one of these paper towels and just throw it away once you're done. So one of the things that I noticed right away is that there is less coming off now than there was yesterday when I was doing this. And it does seem to penetrate the grain a little bit more. There is somewhat of an open grain in this neck. You can see little areas of grain that are not as closed as other areas are, and I'm sure that this relicing wax makes its way into those little areas, and that's part of the way that it darkens the neck. Comes off very easily. You don't have to struggle with it, but you do want to make sure that it does come off, because you don't want to have brown fingers when you're finished with all of this. And as you remember, or maybe you don't remember if you have a short memory like I do, but we applied one coat all the way up to the 10th fret yesterday, and then we applied another coat across the entire fretboard. And after it's buffed off, so as you can see, I buffed it one time all the way down the neck, and very little of the buffing wax compound comes off at this point. So you can see that at this point it doesn't keep rubbing off. I definitely see that the neck is darker. I do like what I'm seeing here. It is, to me, a lot richer. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it does look richer to me. Very nice. I like it. As I said earlier on, I'm a sucker for dark necks, and this relicing wax does a nice job, I have to say. It definitely makes the neck look richer. I'm liking the overall result of this neck. It looks really nice to me. One of the advantages of this product is that you can choose just how dark you want it to be, because it doesn't overly darken the fretboard in one pass. But if you do want the fretboard to look darker, you can apply it a couple of times and really decide just how dark is dark enough for you. If I really wanted it to be even darker than what you see in the video, all I would have to do is apply this a couple more times till I reach the consistency that I want. So I think this product did a very admirable job of tinting my guitar neck and giving it just a little bit more of a richer color. And I will be using this product on a few other of my guitars that I think could use a little bit more darkness in the fretboard. In future videos, I will also be looking at Monty's Guitars Instrument Food, which is a slightly different product. This is more of a hydrating type of oil and wax solution, which is a little bit the consistency of, I would say, lip gloss. and it is designed to hydrate your necks. Now there are different ways to hydrate a neck, and this one is something that has been designed specifically for guitars. So I will do a follow-up video on this specific product so that you can see how well this works as well. So hopefully this video has given you a little bit more to think about when it comes to darkening your fretboard, specifically if you're looking for a non-permanent solution. If you have any questions about fretboard care that you'd like to ask, simply post your questions down below. I answer all of the questions. That's it for now, guys. Take care of your guitars. Stay tuned. There'll be more great videos coming your way right here on Addicted to Gear.